Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Mike, host of the free iTunes podcast, Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike. But that's not why I'm here today. This is another Saving Savvy episode, and today it's more of an opinion piece again on probably the most important part of your digital camera, and it's the part that no one talks about. So when people think of digital cameras, what do they think of? Well, interestingly, I had to do a photo shoot, a family portrait shoot this weekend. I grabbed an old but great camera, a D3S, and I shot some pictures. And even though that camera was built in or created in 2008, took great pictures, 12 megapixels, plenty of megapixels, no problems whatsoever. But of course, cameras are now more advanced now. And so what's making them more advanced? Well, a lot of components combine to do that, but there's one thing that really is the heart and soul of this transformation. So let's talk about those different parts and see which one I think is the most important part. Now, you might have a different opinion, but that's okay. So let's talk about the lens. Have lenses really changed that much in the last 5, 10 years? Not really. Yes, of course, there's image stabilization. There was image stabilization quite a few years ago. It's better now. In certain situations, it improves the quality of the image, but there's always been workarounds. And really, when you talk about lenses, you're talking about glass and quality glass. And if you have a big sensor, a big piece of glass, and all that costs money. So if someone could come up with a way to make a cheap great wide open lens that was good on a full frame sensor. Now we're talking, but no one has done that. Well, how about the shutter? Well, shutters have kind of become old and new again. So basic shutter design has not changed that much. They might change a spring or a metal or something like that. But basically, the big change in shutters is combining mechanical shutters, which deliver the best overall pictures, with electronic shutters, which can have tremendously high shutter speeds. So if you want to take something with your wide open aperture and bright sun, you can now do that. But of course, with those electronic shutters, you get skewing, that rolling shutter effect. Is that an advancement? Well, it's an improvement on old themes. Well, how about just controls and design layouts? Here again, there's been a lot of advancements of sorts, but really relatively minor. You have better resolution of screens, you have touch screens, you have articulating screens. A lot of that's taken from more consumer end cameras. You have controls, and a lot of times the controls are going more retro, where you have these physical dials that you can turn. Again, old and new, consumer and professional combining together to make an overall better product. But is that the most important thing? Probably not. Well, I know you're thinking it's got to be the sensor, right? Sensors, they have more megapixels on them. They have better ISO performance. They have phase detection on some of their chips. That's certainly very important. But again, I used a camera from 2008, took professional photos with it. The customer was delighted with the results. Sharp, clear, good color. Yeah, I can get more resolution nowadays, but I still had a great product. So I don't think it's the sensor. The unsung hero of cameras nowadays is something that no one ever talks about because it's not very sexy, and that's the microprocessor. So all that data, whether it's pushing out more pixels to view on your viewing screen, whether it's operating the phase detection on the phase on the sensor chip, whether it's providing more points for like face tracking or whatever, whether it's cleaning up the image, either using some sort of a JPEG uh, algorithm to reduce noise or an algorithm even in RAW files, because of RAW files, of course, are processed to some degree. All of that is happening within the chip. Your 4K video is being processed because of the chip. Your faster burst rates are happening because of the chip. And so the chip really is the unsung hero. And that's great news. Why? Well, here's an example. Here is an iPhone 7. And people are talking about the iPhone 7 as having a great camera. Now, the chip in, well, this has two chips, but let's assume it just had one, is actually much smaller, the sensor chip, than what you find even on your very basic compact camera. It does have a nice lens on it, but it's obviously really tiny because the sensor is tiny. It doesn't have a much really going on there. Um, so why are people saying that such a small sensor can have such a good picture? Because of the processing. So if I can process a signal properly, if I can use digital signal processing, I can really look at those noise patterns and dramatically reduce them. And all of a sudden, this little tiny chip becomes a good low light camera. If I can recognize things because of the power of the chip, in this case in the phone, and say, okay, this is a human's face, I'm going to keep that sharp and I'm going to blur the stuff around them. If the chip has that much intelligence, then all of a sudden, all those very expensive, high focal length, low f-stop lenses are less necessary because now I can create those effects in software. Now you say, well, the software in the camera is not as good as a lens. I'd say wait 5 years. They said the same thing about optical viewfinders versus electronic viewfinders. Now, what are people saying? Wow, electronic viewfinders are the way to go. At least many people are saying that. So, just a little opinion piece. The good news is that chips advance very quickly. They're going to advance a lot quicker than silicon technology for sensors or lens technology for lenses. Those are going to be incremental changes, and those changes are going to impact specific things. So if you have better focusing, that might be great if you're a sports photographer. Less important if you're doing landscapes. If you are doing a lot of nighttime, dark clubby kind of stuff, and you need to, without a tripod, yes, having 5 axis image stabilization is important. Less important for the rest of us. But process stuff in a chip. You can have it all and more. And I think that's where we're going to really see our advancement. So that's my opinion. If you have a differing opinion, feel free to enter it below. Just be nice and kind. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe to it. Two other things I want to tell you about. I have a free podcast called Psychiatric Secrets Revealed. I now do it with my wife. I'm a psychiatrist. She's a psychologist. And we kind of banter about daily stuff, life, current events, etc. It's kind of fun. You can find it on iTunes. I also have a blog, drmikekuna.com or drmichaelkuna.com. That's drmikekuna.com. It's really an experimental writing deal for me. I'm just trying to develop my writing skills and be more honest and write in a more real, feeling sort of way. So if you want to learn a little bit more about me as a person, you can do that. Or if you just want to read something, you can do that too. Again, I don't get any commercial benefit from any of this stuff. It's all for fun. Take care, everyone.